Day 10 of making track in 12 steps. This is the music production challenge where I make a track in 12 steps, and I also challenge you to make it as well. You can still join from the link down below. But today we will focus on effects. So this session will be kind of going towards mixing, but we're still focusing mostly on aesthetic effects. So we will start with a low-end group with drums and bass, but I'm just glad to tell you that this video is sponsored by Baby Audio, and I will be challenging myself now to use only Baby Audio plugin bundle in this video. Obviously, it's not difficult for me because I use them mostly anyway. So we will start with the low-end group, and I will start with drums. Especially the kick, because it just needs a little bit more color. So I'm going to add Parallel Aggression to it by Baby Audio. And they actually have a preset called 808 Kick Saturation, and I think it would sound amazing in this. Listen to that color it already added. Actually adds both parallel compression and parallel saturation at the same time from one plugin, while still keeping really good care of the dynamics of the signal. So I'm separately adding one for kick and one for snare in drum rack with the different settings. So with snare, I'm gonna use the preset snare smack dry, and then listen just to change. Little bit more spank. Nice. With Ableton Live on instruments, you can add a saturator and a compressor to a return track, and you can get a similar effect. So the big bass in the beginning is amazing. It has a lot of harmonics, but I want to smooth it out a little bit. So I'm going to add a Baby Audio smooth operator to it and also sidechain it to the drum kick. So this plugin is great for soothing out some harsh resonances and also bringing clarity to the mix. So this is without and with. It also benefits from resonance suppression, spectral compression, and EQ at the same time. So pretty cool. So I'm adding smooth operator for both of the basses because I wanted to have a lot of color in this track, but at the same time, I also want to control it a little bit so that we're not going to have a lot of issues with masking. So example, separating basses from kicks. I also wanted to add a little bit more punch into the chorus, so I just added this extra kick and then added some parallel aggression again to it. As well, a little bit of IHNY2, which is a super flexible parallel compression plugin. And a little bit that too also for the hi-hats. Listen to the decay, especially of the hi-hats. There's so much more movement on them. And I really like how the low end is sounding now. To explain my workflow a little bit more, I'm not using return tracks really in this session. So I prefer to use group tracks. So example here, I have a group of lifts and swooshes and transitions. And then on the group track, I have a crystalline reverb. And this allows me to add the reverb to all the tracks in the group. Obviously, you can do similar technique with return tracks, but I prefer having all my tracks in sections like this. I had some lower impacts on the group as well, so I'm creating a different track separate from the group and just adding all the lower end clips there. And then I'm going to add some parallel aggression to it. This is a perfect tool for something like this. It adds color, but also we can get more impact to the impact sounds. Same way, I want to add some parallel compression to the impacts and add some more depth into it. So they sound a bit more closer and more full. So next we're going to add effects to the mid-range instruments. So example, piano. For these I want to add depth and width and space into, but also some movement with the effects. So example, crystalline and also super VHS is brilliant because it adds this amazing VHS cassette type of pitch modulation, shape and movement to it. Color, lots of color. In Ableton Live, you can get similar type of effects from shifter as well as hybrid reverb. I've been really enjoying crystalline because of the controllability of the sound and how it has this modern, very crisp, very light sound. For the main synth pad sound, it has a lot of harmonics on it, so I'm just gonna add a smooth operator, but then not too much because we want it to still come out from the last chorus and just really pop out. So the strings are interesting with effects because we want them to be still string sounds, but also I want them to be a bit more synthesized and more artificial, I guess. I already have the Baby Audio tape on the group track, which adds this little bit of stretching sound to it. But I'm also going to add smooth operator just to soften the violins and the kind of harsh frequencies that violins and strings can make. On the tape plugin, I'm just taking the noise down a little bit and then adding that wear and tear type of sound. Oh, love it. I also wanted to try out space out on it, but I think it made it sound a bit too muddy for this purpose. So I added crystalline instead to add a bit more very bright reverb and also added ducker to it just to make sure that the violins really come through. For the C part solo instrument, I added one of my classic favorites, comeback kit. And especially for any solo instrument, this is a must. It just makes it sound larger than life. And I just love how you can customize the delay sound to be so vintage. So have pitch bend, to have some movement and some color. Okay, so the fourth group is vocals. So on the main group, where we have the main harmonies and the main vocals, I have crystalline. So in these ones, I really need to make sure that we're not sinking the vocals into too much reverb. So I have ducker on quite heavily. This means that we are creating the space between the phrases, not during it. So this is also good because we can add comeback kit to add that extra delay to it.
Something strange happens.
And for this, I want to use the flavor. So it adds this like a certain stretch, pitch stretch type of sound in the delay. And it sounds so cool.
Did feel really light.
I also wanted to go into the vocal chops and add spaced out for this one. I really wanted to add that extra depth and space, like the very full sound to it. And it's perfect for this because it adds reverb, delay, and modulation together. So we have reverb on the right, we have delay on the left, and then we have modulation controls on the bottom. Especially the Stardust and pre-delay add amazing modulation to it. Listen to this.
Something strange happened.
I think that is a perfect effect for the beginning, just to add that really full, lush reverb, delay, and modulation. Oh, beauty, beauty. Here is Lena walking and talking again. The thoughts of the day. Today's thought is just one sentence. What was it? I forgot it. There is no failure in creativity. Double. Let that sink in. There is no failure in creativity. So what's stopping you? You can't fail. It's not possible. Patreons, love you. Come and join our Discord for more chat. See you next time. That was a short one.